And what are some of the things that you've noticed over, I can't believe 40 years, that's a long time to be in the industry. What are some of the things that have changed from when you started to today?
Yeah, well, I suppose like if we look back over the last 20 years and like some of the changes like the changes that have revolutionized software development, like there's a number that really jump out. Like back then it would have been very much a client server environment where people would have a physical on-premise server with with a client application sitting on a desktop. So that's what it's a client server architecture. And a lot of management was involved in developing and updating, the client end of things and the server end of things. So it was quite disjointed. But since over the years, like the advent of cloud computing, where now you're working with SaaS based applications, meaning that there's no desktop client anymore in the majority of cases. It brings so much more flexibility to clients, and you're really only updating one code base at any one time. So the management of the environment and the updates for clients becomes a much more streamlined process. On top of that, you have things like like the mobile revolution. Back then, 20 years ago, like mobile phones didn't even exist. Apple sort of turned that on its head completely with the introduction of the iPhone, and then subsequently Google with the Android operating system, allowing multiple mobile operators to launch devices, and that has sort of made the application development space so dynamic, because now you have the power of applications in your hands, on the move, where like every the old adage is, there's an app for that, because there's an app for everything now, and like the mobile device really enabled that to happen, has changed the face of the software industry for forever. um, Open source is another well, what would you call it? It's another environment that open source is another environment that has sort of taken on a life of its own. And like the open source movement is one where um, software is made available free, and so then you have a community who get involved in the development of that free platform. And so it evolves as a community based platform, and then companies can decide whether they want to they want to consume open source applications or not. And so that has a price advantage for clients. Instead of having to buy licensed software, they can buy free software and avail of the wide community out there who are developing plugins for these platforms. And there are many platforms like that out there that companies can avail of.